Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Standing on business.
Standing on business.
Stand on business.
What's up, brownies? So this is going to be a regular series on my channel. Standing on Business is going to address Black people in business, whether from the entrepreneurial or the employee standpoint, and how we are treated and critiqued differently. So Funky Dineva, a popular content creator, just a few hours ago put up his own video about how he has quit Fox Soul. And since then, of course, a lot of people have come out with their opinions, either just stating it in the comments or making their own videos. The general consensus seems to be one of two things. Either people are saying that they don't really believe that he quit. They think he was fired for what he said about Chloe Bailey and they had to wait till his contract ran out, or that they're glad that he's gone because he's anti-Black woman. I'm going to address both of those things towards the end of the video, so make sure you watch all of it. But also, I want to start this with Dineva basically quoting or referencing Taraji P. Henson about the pay disparity thing that goes on. And he's basically talking about building his own table and how it'll be more beneficial for him to just continue to do it on his own versus on that platform. So I've cut his long video down to just the meat and potatoes and the gist of it. So we'll start with him in his own words, and then we'll follow up with the rest of my research and commentary comparing both of the platforms because I have the numbers. Let's go.
So the very short version of the story is, when we were working 2 days a week, we were being paid at a certain rate. Let's just say $20 a show. They said, okay, we're going to move you guys to 5 days a week, but instead of paying you $20 a show, we're going to pay you $17 a show. And all of us fought it. You know, we were like, well, wait a minute. Why are you cutting our pay rate? You know what I'm saying? And the general attitude was like, you know, I mean, yeah, guys, but look, you're still making more money because you got more days, which, depending on how you look at it, is true. But we're doing more work that was valued at $20 an episode on Monday. And now on Tuesday, somehow or another, my time is now valued at $17 an hour. It never quite sat well with any of us. Okay, I'll go along with it. But instead of signing a 1-year contract, as Al and Claudia did, I was able to negotiate only signing a 6-month contract, wherein at the end of the 6 months, we would have the opportunity to renegotiate my pay rate. My contract officially expired December 22nd. The people on the Fox Soul side let it be known very early on that there just was no additional money. On some Taraji P. Henson breakdown type of stuff, by the time Uncle Sam takes his portion, I pay my agent, you know, her 10%. By the time I get the check each week, to be honest with you, I can do 1.5 YouTube video and make that money. So let's just say an hour total in production time from start to finish. So if I can make the money weekly that I'm making at Fox Soul doing 1.5 YouTube video, then it doesn't make sense time-wise and economically for me to dedicate 10 hours or so a week when I can make more money in said week in 1.5 hours. I don't need Fox Soul to sit on YouTube where I already have market share. If I am going to build or assist in building up anybody's YouTube platform, it only makes the most sense that I build up mine in less time and for more money. If I put the hours in nightly that I was doing with Fox Soul onto my own channel, in addition to what I'm already doing on my channel, I could potentially make 3 to 4 times the amount of money that I'm currently making. So it literally just became a matter of economics. And I don't want anyone to leave here thinking that I was being a diva or anything of the sort, because I wasn't. I was simply asking to be paid what you were already paying me previously.
So what you'll see in the background are some comparisons of the amount of subscribers and then also viewership on multiple videos, just a sample of it. Now, I am going to be fair and I'm going to say, because of the way Fox Soul does its clips, right? You're going to see that, of course, the clips are going to get far less views than the full episodes. But if you compare full episode to full episode from Dineva's personal channel to Fox Soul, just on TGIF, the numbers are about what and what, as far as averaging, I'll say averaging about 150,000 views per episode or per video. Here's the thing. The ones on Fox Soul are typically 3 times as long as the ones that Dineva just uploads it, right? Without much editing and all the other stuff. When you look at the numbers, and then when you look at the fact that when you're on your own channel, you're not splitting money 3 ways. The math is mathing as far as him being able to make money, the same amount of money in less than 2 hours on his own channel that he does on Fox Soul for 5 days, totaling maybe a little over 10 hours in a week. That makes sense. And that show being basically the same type of thing that he talks about as an individual, for him to talk about it on his own platform after he has to do it for work for them is redundant, and that's not going to get as many views. Well, what he would have to do is say things that he wouldn't normally say on the show. That show is so out of pocket. It's so wild with its commentary, and I'm talking about all 3 of them. He said it all on their platform. So you're kind of wanting to give them the best of you in order to shine amongst a whole panel. You know what I'm saying? And to secure your spot. Now, if you're a Dineva fan, you've heard him say no less than 1,000 times, when I went to Florida State University and I got my degree in economics, right? So that's actually what he has. When he's breaking down these numbers, he has not only the educational background to do it, but also he's him. So there's no way that we can tell him how much money he makes over here versus how much money he makes over there. And yet and still, as I expected, you already have people making comments and posting videos about how, no, he didn't quit. He was actually fired. They're letting him save face and all these other things. He was fired because of the Chloe Bailey incident and all of that, right? So I wanted to remind you all of the change.org petition that was filed this summer to get him off the show, right? But in the same graphic, you'll notice that I also put the one that you all made like almost 10 years before as Black women about Blue Ivy needing to comb her hair. And the reason I did that was because in that change.org petition that was made to get Dineva off this show, one of the reasons cited was that this was a pattern of behavior. He has also talked badly about Blue Ivy, who was a baby at the time, right? And I remember I made a video in my series called Selective Smoke, which, of course, nobody watched, where I was talking about how, well, Dineva just said almost identical things about Paula J. Parker, and nobody seemed to be offended. And not only that, you all thought it was funny this time. And I gave my hypothesis as to why. Now, rather than speaking it and summarizing it all over again, I'm just going to drop my own clip from my own YouTube channel of when I talked about this before and why you all were wrong then and why you're wrong now. If the man says that he quit because he wasn't getting paid and he can make more money on his own, why not just let us accept that, especially when we don't have any evidence to the contrary? Let me just go ahead and play this flashback clip. I want to start by saying a couple of things. The first thing is that a lot of people's claims that all Funky Dineva does is bash Black women and he hates Black women is just simply not true. I've watched his content for over a decade and I can tell you that he will literally drag anyone. His personality is to be the wild card and to say things that are outlandish, that will either really offend you or really amuse you, but either way, it engages you. And that is essentially not only why he was hired by Fox Soul, but more specifically, why he was not fired. It's because that's what they hired him to do. He's literally doing his job. And about that, We need to figure out what is the line of demarcation. When are people allowed to have an opinion about Black people or Black women, even when it's unfavorable, and for them to be able to express that and it not be considered bashing? You know what I'm saying? It's a panel show, just like The Real and The View and The Chew and all of the others. So why are these people not allowed to just simply give their commentary and do their job? Everybody has an opinion, but they actually get paid to voice theirs. So that's another bit of food for thought. But let's talk about how unserious you all were with the critiques of what he said about Chloe Bailey, starting with the things that he said about her career. You all were all of a sudden making excuses like, well, she's very young. She's 22 or 23, however young she is, and she's still finding herself and discovering herself. He's 40 and still confused about his identity. You know, these little LGBTQ dog whistle insults that you all tend to do every time you get mad. The unseriousness comes into play when we consider the fact that you all, Black women specifically, dragged Chloe for the exact same things. You can go on any social media platform and find videos and comments about her being cringy when she's trying to be hyper sexualized and how uncomfortable it is to watch and how it's not believable. So this is something that you all have dragged her for. You've also dragged her for her choices in her music, particularly when she decided to do a collab with Chris Brown. Do you all not remember that? You all have made fun of Chloe Bailey for everything. And now all of a sudden, because somebody who's not a Black woman said some of the same things that you all said, you're offended and you feel like she needs to be defended. Do you see the inconsistencies there and how hard it is to find the line? And lastly, let's talk about the fake outrage about him saying very simple things about her appearance. The first thing is that her face looks fat. And the second thing is she's not cute without makeup. What I've done is I have captured a still image from the exact live stream that he is referencing. Let me ask you a question. Does her face look fat? And because she's not wearing makeup here, her hair's not done, there's no filter on at this still image, is she cute without makeup? At this point, a lot of people would ask, where's the lie? And here's what I want to ask you all. Why was this so below the belt and offensive? I have a hypothesis that if Chloe perhaps looked like this skin tone instead of her own, I think that not only would you all have not been offended by his critique of her looks, I think that you would have laughed. And let me show you what I'm basing that on. One of the things that always amazes me is how, even though we know that colorism is global, Black people hate to admit that they, like everyone else in the world, is ingrained with anti-Blackness, right? You're programmed for this, right? And so one thing that you'll notice is anything that is stereotypically and phenotypically Black, you all hate these features, from hair texture to facial features to skin tone, so forth and so on. And let me give you an example and prove it to you. You all started a petition. Now, this is Black women mostly. Started a petition to make the parents comb Blue Ivy's hair. This is a toddler with natural hair texture, hair that grows out of her scalp the same way that yours does. And you all were so offended by this, that this child that you know is loved and protected and richer than probably everybody listening to this video combined. And yet you all put up a big stink about her hair as if you were equating it with her being abused in some way. I'll give you another example. You had someone like Gabby Douglas, a Black girl who is an Olympian, the closest thing that we have to a real live superhero on earth. And while she's winning the gold for her country, you all are dragging her because her edges weren't laid. She is achieving greatness and you all are stuck on her hair. See, when you played the Dozens as a kid, the jokes were literally about Black phenotypes and Black skin tones, right? When have you ever heard the joke, your mama so light skinned? Yeah, see, that's not a thing. Mama so dark, mama so Black, mama hair so nappy, mama's hair so short, so forth and so on. This is what you all do. You literally make blackness the punchline and the butt of the joke. And I think that has a lot to do with why you all were so comfortable with him dragging Paula. So let's move on to the next clip and break that down. So the basis, and let me go ahead and get this out of the way. You all are going to say it was perfectly fine for him to drag Paula and get her together because she had said things about another woman and questioned her victimhood. One of the things that you all do for Black men constantly is make excuses for their behavior, especially anytime they are rude or mean or they abuse you. It's always something in the larger society or something in their childhood that you use as an excuse for their bad behavior. So why is it that Paula was not granted that same grace as someone who she was talking about the fact that she had been victimized as a child? So no one thought to do any psychobabble about her and say, well, hurt people, or perhaps this topic triggered her and this is a trauma response and all of the other things that we use as buzzwords nowadays. No, she said something about Cassie, so let's just drag her. What if I told you one of the biggest reasons why you were doing this is because Cassie is of a lighter hue? She's not Black, which means she automatically deserves to be believed and protected. Paula, on the other hand, now the comments that you all made about her was the same thing that Dineva was saying. Let's drag her looks. Look at how her teeth looks. Look at how unsuccessful her career is. Funny how the talking points that he said about Paula was some of the exact same things that he said about Chloe. And there was no request for cancellation. And after all of that fake outrage, his numbers still have not gone down drastically and his viewership is still up, thereby proving that most of you would rather watch a Black man in a wig cosplaying as a Black woman while playing up every negative stereotype about you rather than support an actual Black woman making good content. Have a good day.